I'm on an adventure in a place full of epic and intimate experiences. On my travels, I journey across the length and breadth of this warm, engaging and big-hearted land and meet the incredible people who bring these experiences to life. Join me as I embrace the giant spirit of Northern Ireland. Hi honey, I'm home. The Ulster American Folk Park in County Tyrone follows the trail of thousands of emigrants from the thatched cottages of Ulster on board a full-scale emigrant sailing ship to the log cabins of the American frontier.
The folk park tells the story of emigration from Ireland to America. We're going back 200 years. We're going to let you see what life was like in Ireland. We have, first of all, a single-room cabin where poor people would have lived. And then you'll progress on to bigger houses. The most important house in the folk park is the Melon House. That's how it all began. And you eventually come to the ship on dockside, and we'll tell you the story of how they went away to America, what the journey was like. It took between 6 and 12 weeks to get there.
Great, that's wonderful. So it's a complete walk through history really here, isn't it? Well listen, let's have a little look. So let's go over, let's walk to America, will we?
Surely.
Totally immerse yourself in the whole history of Ireland really, don't you?
Yeah.
And Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Which is quite fascinating.
I mean, obviously the park here is based in Ulster, and it tells, in particular the Ulster story of Irish migration, but the Ulster story encompasses all the facets of Irish migration from the early days where Irish people, in particular Ulster people, went to the Appalachians and settled on farmland. It also encompasses the later story of the famine migration and post-famine migration.
Ursula was telling us about the live wakes, and in fact they knew this was the last time that they were ever going to be in Ireland. It's quite poignant really, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a big part of Irish culture right up to the First World War, that whenever people left Ireland for America, they weren't expected to return. Very much in the days of the sailing ships, there was a very low expectation of return to Ireland. Whenever the Irish started to leave on steamships after the 1870s, there was more of a chance of them coming back occasionally, but still there was the American wake, which was basically the last time that these people really expected to see Ireland. Very poignant.
The best way to see the Fermanagh Lakelands is from the water. Expert skipper Barry Flanagan really knows Lough Ern's changing currents, seasons and wildlife, and he takes me on an island discovery back to the 6th century Devenish Monastery. Oh, this is lovely. This is like business class, Barry. It's like a business class flight, leather seats and all.
That's it. Some say we're like a private jet in the water. Just
gorgeous, so it is really lovely.
Now, we're just heading onto the bridges here, past Enniskillen Castle. And the water's quite high at the minute, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
They say in the summer, our Lough Ern is in Fermanagh, and in the winter, Fermanagh is in Lough Ern. So you can see that at the minute.
Yeah, it's we've had a wee drop of rain over the last few months, all right. Devenish would be famous for the round tower, wouldn't it?
That's right. It has one of the most impressive, one of the best preserved round towers in the whole of Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's incredible now. When you get up close and you see how good that stonework is, you get a sense of what these boys are about. They're skilled craftsmen.
Yeah. They don't build them like that anymore.
They definitely don't. They definitely don't.
Very, very secure. I can't imagine how you'd ever penetrate this yoke. Boiling oil down on your head, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have a hope, like.
Our main trip out to Devenish is about an hour and a half, but a lot of people who like the history and want to hear more about the place, they'll take the 3-hour tour and they'll head off and see some of the other castles around the loch. There's other monastic sites on smaller islands like White Island. There's a little one called Inishmack Saint. There's loads to see now out here.
Fantastic.
And you can really tell them the story and the history of the place through the people that use the islands.
You don't have to go off to Croatia for island hopping. You can do it here.
You can, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we've 150 odd islands here in Lough Erne,
Wow,
so
wow.
there's plenty to see now, yeah.
Is there lots of smuggling and things going around, is there?
Well, there's
or
been
is that going past
well,
years ago?
There was plenty of smuggling, and because we're on the border, you see, the
Yeah,
waterway
yeah.
was actually the ideal way of smuggling things.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
In fact, they used to say that they used to try and get past the customs men on the lock. They would paint the boat one colour on one side and paint the boat another colour on the other side, so when they were passing the customs men, they thought it was a different boat coming back up the lock.
Very clever. Well, I must say that's very impressive, Barry. Devenish here on the left.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic place, peaceful place. And it's a 6th century monastic site. You can see the old stone ruins here on the island and the beautiful round tower, which is fully intact there.
Oh, it's magnificent. It's a beautiful example of it, isn't it? Well, Barry, that was absolutely fabulous.
Great, Ed. No, it's great to have you out.
Come here, I'm glad I brought the suntan lotion.
Well, look at I know
Look
the
at
sun
this,
was out. It's
brilliant.
fantastic.
I know,
Yeah.
it's like Malaga.
It's always like this. It's always like this.
Because a lot of people don't realise that Northern Ireland gets actually a lot of sunshine, and Fermanagh, I must say, every time I come to Fermanagh, it seems to be a beautiful day. The award-winning Boatyard farm-to-bottle distillery is located on the banks of Lough Erne. Founder Joe McGirr has utilised his knowledge of spirits and whisky to build his dream of the first legal distillery in Fermanagh for over 130 years. I'm meeting Stanley, master distiller Orla and mixologist Jamie to embrace a few giant spirits today. Of course, we're talking about embrace a giant spirit for our programme here, and I suppose there's no nicer spirit than some of these gorgeous gins that you're making here. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what makes this so special.
Well, on the easiest to show you probably on the bottle, you see, first of all, we're called Boatyard Double Gin. The reason the word double comes is we actually do a production method where we have baskets on the still that we put our main botanical, which is juniper, and the other one lemon, and we actually put that freshly into our baskets, and we infuse the hot vapor during distillation through those products, and that gives our gin a very definite juniper and citrus-led flavour.
So it's just like a big water bath at the bottom.
Yeah.
You put the liquid in and leave it overnight then. It goes in here, and within this chamber here there's 2 baskets.
Okay.
So there's one full of juniper and one full of the peel.
Okay,
So
so
that
it's infused through that
Yeah,
as well.
so that gives it the double gin. So it's a Dutch method of distilling.
Wow.
And then it hits this chamber, which is the condensation chamber, and turns the vapor back into liquid. And that's what you're getting out here. So that's the gin there at a higher percentage.
Wonderful. And I mean, you were saying that this would be about 89% when it would come out. So
Yeah, so you don't.
yeah, you wouldn't be drinking that
No,
anyway.
not. You don't.
Not twice.
No, no.
So we have, in your right-hand glass, we have our standard double gin. If you take a little nose of it, just like that, you just get a lot of alcohol and kind of background of gin. To get more flavours, there's a little trick that we do. We put the glass over our nose and we breathe through our mouth.
It's really fresh.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And if you take a little, tasting wise, a little sip, what we're trying to do here is coat our mouth rather than swallow. By coating our mouth and by me talking and you opening your mouth, we're letting the alcohol diffuse out and we're left with the oils. And after about 30 or 40 seconds, you start feeling that going into your taste buds. And then you're starting to get the full flavour from it. The Old Tom, this is our second gin that we make. On the palate, it's sweeter than our gin. It has a lovely, a smooth,
Very
I think you did right.
yeah, very nice. And you definitely can get the sherry taste there. Isn't it just so lovely that you're using all the local ingredients here and it's all coming to fruition in this gorgeous glass of deliciousness?
Yes, it'd be lovely to use even more
Yeah.
products, but obviously our Fermanagh lemon crop let us down a little bit this year. So
Yes. Well, you know, it's always quite sunny up here, isn't it?
It is indeed.
You do get a wee
Always.
drop of rain.
Yes,
But
we
anyway.
do.
Well, anyway,
Occasionally.
listen, cheers. Thanks a million. That was
You're
really
very welcome.
interesting.
You're very welcome.
So Peter, I suppose if these stones could talk, they'd be telling us stories of fugitives and smugglers and hermits, right? Is that correct, is it?
They'd have a story or two to tell, all right. So,
Yeah. So this whole area here was there was smugglers and there was all sorts of people that used to actually stay up here. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, there's a great history of the smugglers bringing the contraband through the mountains to distribute it at the other side on all the little towns and villages. Also the men that worked on the stone as well. You know, that's the sort of the men of the Mourns. You know.
And the Men of the Mourns experience that you offer here, it's absolutely incredible. You actually walk about 5 miles up into the Mourns.
That's right. It takes about 5 miles at a sort of nice relaxed pace. It takes us about 5 hours to do the walk. And we'll talk about the history of the Mourns, the history of the men that worked here, and then that sort of thing, you know.
And the wall here, right? It's the beautiful wall we see across the mountains. 22 miles, is that right?
That's right. 22 miles long. It took them 18 years to build it.
Wow.
Yeah.
My God, from 1904.
That's right, 1904 to 1920.
And that was to kind of protect, that was to kind of seal off the whole catchment area here, was it?
That's right. The Mourns are a great area for water, and all Belfast gets its water from the Mourns from this area here.
So we're going to head off now, right? And we're going to have a nice walk. And it's not for anybody, it's not necessarily, you don't have to be super fit to do this walk, right?
No, just a reasonable level.
Not that I'm not super fit or anything, right? But it's for all levels.
It is. Anybody should be super.
Well, the scenery here is absolutely incredible. So I'm really looking forward to this, Peter. So without further ado, will we head off? Great stuff. Yeah. Men of the Mourns. It's time to leave the mighty Men of the Mourns for a date with Lord Rawdon's majestic Alto estate in County Down. For people that are going to come up and experience the whole estate here, what are the kind of key elements that they're going to enjoy when they come?
Alto houses would be one of certainly the main aspects. It's a Georgian house that dates back to the 17th century. But we have a number of aspects on the estate here to cater for all sorts of interests. We're very sort of well known for our trails and gardens, and we have a number of themed gardens throughout the estate for varying interests. We have a unique cafe area, retail experience for people as well, and one of our big draws too would be our play area for children, and it's very much here about reconnecting with nature, getting families and old and young, grandparents, parents, the children, getting everybody out.
I have to say, Keith, I mean, having just been here for a little while, I mean, it's an amazingly, it's almost a kind of a peaceful, spiritual kind of an experience. I mean, you can feel your batteries almost recharging as you're walking around the beautiful trees here in the parks, and I mean, for anybody who loves, as you were saying, nature, but particularly like trees and plants, and I see you have resident swans that have decided they're even happy here.
We do, yes. They're just a new addition in the last couple of weeks. It was a great start to the new year, but yeah, as you say, during midweek particularly, when it's that little bit quieter and people are coming here on their own for a walk, just for an hour to, exactly as you say, to recharge their batteries. Just you know, there's all sorts of talk at the minute about mindfulness and mental health and forest bathing and all these things, and Alto and the grounds and the domain, it's a perfect place for that.
After my relaxing forest bathing at Alto Estate, I was off to prison to visit Crumlin Jail, just 30 minutes down the road in Belfast.
Crumlin Jail, it was built in Belfast between 1843 and 1845, and it was designed by the renowned architect and civil engineer Sir Charles Lanyon, and he's actually designed a number of the notable buildings in Belfast, so Queen's University, Belfast Castle. Now, it was the first prison in Ireland to be designed for the separate system of confinement. So that meant it was originally built to house between 500 and 550 prisoners in single cell accommodation. During the Troubles, however, there were nearly 1,500 prisoners here, so there could have been 3 or 4 men in the one cell, so it was a bit of a tight squeeze. Now, it first opened then as an operational jail in March 1846, when 106 prisoners, men, women and children, marched the 11-mile distance from the original jail at Carrickfergus. It's been home to murderers, common criminals, suffragettes, political prisoners. It's been witness to births, marriages, deaths. There's been 54 escapes and 17 executions. And the jail then closed after 150 years in March 1996. The tunnel, well, it was added to the jail in 1849 in order to coincide with the opening of the courthouse across the road in 1850. So it was used to move the prisoners from the jail to the courthouse. It kept them out of sight of the public and prevented any escape attempts.
Wow.
This is the central point of the jail. We've got our 4 wings fanning off, so A, B, C and D. And now this is called a radial cellular system.
So why do you think people would like to get married here? Something completely different?
If anything, yeah, personally I don't really get it, but there's some good photo opportunities in the jail itself.
Do you think it's like because marriage is a prison?
One of our tour guides said to the bride, I'm sure where else would you want to start off your life sentence?
It's hard to imagine being a sailor in the First World War unless you're on board HMS Caroline. She has been part of the Belfast waterfront since 1924, but only now can her story be told.
HMS Caroline is a very special, unique survivor. You won't see another one like her. She's one of only 5 major naval warships across the world left today from First World War, and she's the only surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland, so again, you won't see another of the kind. This is one thing I always like to sort of tell visitors to really keep an eye on, is the difference in class structure that you will see as you go around the ship. Obviously starting here with the likes of the cabin, you'll see the captain's cabin, sorry, you'll see just the amount of space he has, as well as through here as most senior officers, and they have their own stewards in this kind of area as well. But as we go further through the ship, you'll see how all these kind of luxuries start to dissolve a bit more, and it just becomes a space, it just becomes compartmentation, which, as I say, we'll see a massive change in as we go on.
No. No.
That's us, shot in the water. We're done.
Very good. Yeah, you've had practice at this.
Well, perhaps.
Brilliant. If you watch any of the Fabulous War programs, or even if you watch some of the other ones, I mean, even Das Boot and some of these ones, you know, the submarines, I mean, it's incredible, the tension, you know.
And I often think, I mean, the sailors had to be stronger than the ships they were made of, like, but so,
Men of
I
steel.
think, exactly, but you wouldn't be human if it didn't strike fear into your heart. I mean, I'd be terrified to know that there was these massive, you know, powers against you. Anything could happen. Every day we have people coming on, oh, I used to serve on the ship, or my grandfather, my father, etc.
Wow.
This will be part of their history for many years to come, and that's something we're very, very passionate about.
There are few experiences more refined than a classic afternoon tea, and few better places to partake in it than alongside Titanic Belfast's sweeping grand staircase.
Welcome to Titanic Suite, Ed. I'm delighted you're able to join us here for afternoon tea.
Brilliant. I mean, you're spoiling me today. This is absolutely amazing. And I'm expecting Leonardo to pop out the back here, the beautiful staircase. It looks absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, so we're so lucky we have the staircase here in Titanic Suite, and it really recreates what the first class passengers would have experienced. So the whole suite is themed on what the interiors of the first class quarters of Titanic would have been. So it's something really special for people to see at afternoon tea.
Every Sunday, you can book this wonderful afternoon tea experience.
Yes, you can come and you can get a lovely selection of sweet treats and scones and sandwiches, and you can enjoy a tea or a coffee or maybe a little cocktail or a glass of fizz, and you can do it all here in Titanic Suite. You can get your photographs on the beautiful staircase, and it really is something very special to do when you're in Belfast.
I'm going to be a bit of a giant after eating all this food now, I can tell you. But anyway, you were telling me earlier that you've passed your 6 millionth visitor.
Yes, we just a few weeks ago passed our 6 millionth, and we've had those people coming from all over the world. I think 145 countries at the last count, so it's just testament to the popularity of the Titanic story, but also the fact that in Belfast here at Titanic Belfast, you can do the authentic thing. You can get Titanic museums all over the world, but only in Belfast can you see where the story really started, where she was designed, where she was built, and where she first went into the water. So to come to Belfast and do it, it really is something you can't do anywhere else.
I'm off to meet a real Derry girl, tour guide Fionnuala, who will unlock the secrets of these giant walls.
Here are the Great Walls, built in 1613, opened in 1618. Those are the original walls.
There's not that many walled cities left, even in Europe.
No, indeed there isn't. This was the last walled city in Europe to be built. It's the only one left in Ireland.
Wow.
How lucky are we?
Amazing.
Well, how lucky are we? And if you look at the strength, God, if these walls could speak, What do you think, Ed, they'd be saying? They'd be telling us many great giant stories and giant tales. This is where Amelia Earhart, she spoke to the people of the city in 1932, flew a plane across the Atlantic Ocean, landed in Derry, 3 miles outside the city. She originally thought she was going to Paris, ended up here. Far better place, of course. We were delighted.
The Paris of the North.
Just behind me, we have what's called the Temple Bar of Derry, known as Waterloo Street.
Brilliant, yes.
It's a great place for a wee drink. Lots of wonderful music, and in the number of the bars in here, you know, it's open mic. People who visit the city, they love this. And they love meeting with the locals, because the locals then will be interested in knowing who they are, what they are. They want to know what you're doing here. They also want to tell their stories. Big-hearted giant stories is what they're interested in.
Fantastic. So this is the highest point now, Fionnuala?
We're coming up to the highest point, 120 feet above sea level. We have this area here. So the views from here are absolutely spectacular.
Well, Fionnuala, I have to say, this has been a fabulous day, and thank you so much for unlocking the walls of Derry and the walls of this amazing city. And again, I'm struck by the spirit in the people here in Derry. It never fails to kind of blow me away, to be honest, and it's been so lovely to be back here again. And everybody should come up here and unlock this amazing city and unlock these walls.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure, as was the pleasure of the people of this city. We hope to see you more. We hope to see plenty of people from the south come on up and say hello to us, because we are open for business. And just as a wee memento for today, I want to just present you with this.
Oh wow!
It's a little key ring.
Lovely.
And
that's great. I'm always losing my keys. This is fabulous.
As you can see, it is a gateway. Again, unlock the gateway here into our city. And thank you so much. It was a great pleasure.
Absolutely.
A great pleasure for me, for the people. And we've lots more stories to tell you as well. So
brilliant, Fionnuala. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I've come to the end of my amazing journey here in Northern Ireland, awakening the giant spirit of this amazing land. And I would invite you to come and do the same.